Yo, what's going on, everybody? If you're streaming from Facebook Live, YouTube, welcome. My name is Bree Specific. Just want to welcome everybody to What's the Words? Top Hip Hop Cultural Impacts of 2020. So, 2020 been a mess to me. That's all I can say. It's been a mess. It's been some ups, it's been some downs. At the end of the day, it's honestly been wild as hell. But we're gonna talk about everything that influenced the culture today. We got some dope content contributors today. My girl Shanika Speaks is here. Ricky Rampage from Tower 92. All of Brother Knows podcast. Who else we have? Larry Legend, the comedian. Joy CJ is here. So we're gonna get to it. All right. Before I do that, it's sponsored by Specific Sense. That's this lovely candle that I got sitting right here next to me. I hope y'all can hear me. Y'all can hear me, make sure y'all put in the comments, put a thumbs up in the comments if y'all can hear me, because I want to make sure this audio is good and we not having no issues, okay? And y'all can listen to me every Sunday, Power 92.3 if you're in Chicago. If you're not in Chicago, you can get the app. It's Power 92.3 WPWX, totally free app in your Apple Android stores. If you listen to me right now, then congratulations, you made it. You made it through 2020. It's been a lot of ups and downs, but you're here. We're here. We're here together, and we're going to talk about it, okay? We got a whole 60 minutes to chat it up with y'all about everything that influenced the culture today. So we're talking Megan Thee Stallion, the 2020 election, COVID-19, how y'all was out here finessing all of these grants and loans. Yeah, we talking about all of it, all right? But before we do that, I want to go ahead and bring in our moderator for today. So she is the CEO of Morally Cinful Productions and the director of content development for What's the Word. It's my girl Cindy.
Hey y'all. Hey Bree, how you feeling?
We loading. Cindy, can you hear me?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I'm so not used to using like thing. So
well, I'm here.
Hey girl,
so
hey.
For those of you, hey,
Yes.
There you go.
I look blurry.
Well, for those of you, Bree is gonna jump back in for us. Well, like she said, I'm Cindy. I'll be your moderator tonight. Bree, you there? I hear you now. Okay, she figuring it out. But like Bree said, I will be your moderator this evening with a lovely slew of commentators. 2020 it's very interesting.
Can you hear me?
And like, yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay. Am I blurry?
A little bit, but it's clearing up.
Oh, I hate the internet. Okay.
It's okay. These are perfect 2020 vibes. Perfect
It is
quarantine vibes.
2020 for
Perfect
sure.
coronavirus. Like, for those of you who are wondering why we decided to do it virtual this year, it was very intentional. Like, this is the year that we have all been experiencing as a community. So I'm sure you all are more than understanding of any technical difficulties tonight, but it is our goal to give you a great conversation, great show, great catch up with all that to a minimum. So
For sure. I do want
you
y'all to
ready to
see
get
me
into
though, because
some
I got
things,
this,
like my girl
this
down the
little
stove would
jumpsuit
say.
on.
Oh, and you're looking good, girl. I see him. Hello. Going into 2021, body banging. Okay. You ready for me to jump into the convo, Bree? Well, yeah, girl.
Hello.
Yeah, you there? Okay, so we're gonna get into it. And jump out. We're gonna jump Bree out, and I'm gonna bring in some great commentators to help us tonight. And we're gonna start by talking about COVID-19, coronavirus, the impact it had on us all this year. So first, I'm gonna bring in my girl Coily J. Hey, Corley.
What's up? Hey, Cindy.
Corley is a staff writer here at What's the Word. Also host of Hip Hop News. Next, we're gonna bring in my guy Larry Legend. Larry, what's up?
What up? What up?
We're gonna bring in Chris Dinsmore. Works over at ESPN. He is also host of the Hitman podcast. And let's bring in my girl, Joycey J. Hey, Joycey. She is, unmute yourself, girl. She is host of, one of the hosts of the Juice Chicago and a media personality.
Hey, everyone.
How are you all feeling tonight?
Oh, good.
We good. We live, baby. So y'all
feeling great. Okay, we definitely live, baby.
Canada Goose on just to get on the live with y'all, man.
Man, like to everyone out there right now in the snow, please be safe. If you are in Chicago, you know it's coming down right now. So I'm sure this evening met a lot of us with a lot of unanticipated experiences. So I appreciate you all still being here, rocking and rolling. And let's just jump straight into it. So we know that this year we were hit with coronavirus, the Rona, COVID-19, whatever you want to refer to it as. And Corley, I know you personally, so if you could kick us off, if you wouldn't mind sharing just some of the experiences that you had with COVID, and maybe somebody out there can relate to them and kind of get us into the topic.
Definitely. So Corona for me, I had a positive experience. I know like a few people had positive experiences with COVID-19, and it's just like I was able to leave a job that I hated this year. I got a big buyout from that company, so I mean a big payout. So I got a lot of money off of that, and I just like was able to go hard in my career, getting published in multiple outlets and just doing what I love full time. So Corona really had a big impact for me positively.
Nice. So I like the positive spin you put on it, Joycey.
Yeah, I will say, one thing about the whole COVID-19, it was a blessing in disguise for a lot of people. And also for a lot of people, it was very traumatizing and very heart aching because we always got to show love to the thousands of people that we lost to COVID. But, I will say for me personally, in the beginning, this was something hard to believe. This was really something hard to wrap our brain around, like our whole world and everything that we're used to doing is just over and has to be on pause. And I feel like it really got real. Like when this first happened, a lot of people really didn't believe it. A lot of people was like, nah, hold on, man. This something that people putting in the air. But when they canceled the NBA, knowing that everyone loves sports and how much money athletes make, that's when we knew it was real. We said, hold on now.
Straight up.
Y'all canceling the NBA now. And so, I feel like this was, for a lot of people, it was a 360. It was a 360 total lifestyle. But I know me personally, it was a lot of ups and downs. I was also someone that had a COVID scare.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So, and I know a lot of people personally that died from COVID and that also had scares. So I've really been staying prayed up and just trying to take everything that come my way and to constantly keep moving, because 2020 was a rough one.
It was. Larry and Chris, like, could either of you speak to maybe some new habits you were forced to develop? I feel like everybody out there watching, like, we all just had to move differently, or maybe how it impacted your career choices. Maybe you had a career change or considered it. Larry, you could kick us off.
For me, I think the main habit I picked up was cooking at home. Making all the stuff I usually go get, and just sitting home and trying to see what to do. And it has affected my work like a lot because we film, I do a lot of skits and stuff like that. So we haven't been really able to get up like that, like we wanted to. And then we also been in a space trying to get the show back up. It's just been hard. Like certain people, wanted to come on the show, and certain people was just like You know, it's they rather call in, can we call in type of thing. And it was just like we needed to get everything together. So stuff like that been hard. I've been able to write though for a couple of publications, so it ain't been that bad. And it has been lessons, especially when you get to take advantage of like all the free stuff that they was giving out. Like people was getting money, and there's a lot of people who would qualify for stuff that they didn't you know, certify, I mean, apply for. So I think that's something that a lot of people need to look forward to. Like when there's new stuff come out, like look to see what you qualify for, but also finesse the system. It's been finessing us forever. Like it's our turn. Like get ours in. So that's, I think it's been a blessing for a lot of people, especially in the hood. And you know, we just got to keep working towards, you know, trying to make the artwork, like all of my stuff that I've been trying to do. So.
Which I'm gonna put a pin in because I actually got something for you and the people, but I want to let Chris chime in first. I think you might know what it is, Larry, but the world's about to see. Chris, how was COVID for you?
Well, yeah, I'm gonna make mine real quick. To Larry's point and also to Joyce's point, I work in sports. You feel me? So I was on my way to a game when the season got canceled. A real good friend of mine was actually at the game that they made the announcement at. And then to Corley's point, it's been a lot of ups and downs. I've had friends that I lost, you know, that I went to college with. They didn't have any health problems. They weren't in that high threshold rate. You know, we were hearing that in the beginning, and it was just silly rumors like, "Oh, black folks can't get it. Oh, we melanated, so we can't really have it." And then the numbers started spiking in the States. We were on a hiatus. You know what I'm saying? The NBA was on a hiatus for quite a bit until they decided to enact a bubble. So for a lot of us, we were on the sidelines, sitting at home trying to figure things out. So that was a low point. A high point for me, the podcast Princess came in. My daughter was born last month, you know. So
congratulations.
And I was first time father, and I was terrified that when this first happened. Appreciate y'all, but I was terrified. Like, man, how in the hell am I gonna raise a child, have a child in this situation? But the thing I really want to give a testament to each one of you all and everybody that's out there listening is the fact that our generation is one of the strongest that has ever come on this earth. We've gone through recession, we've gone through natural disasters, we've gone through 9/11, and now a pandemic. When you think about our ancestors and how they, you know, came over and dealing with slavery and things like that, we can put our story and put our journey up there against any test of time in history. So just trying to keep my mind sane, doing a lot more reading than I ever have done my entire life, even in school. Trying to pick up, like Larry said, he picked up cooking. My thing was this motivated me to start the Hitman podcast, getting back into learning a foreign language, because obviously traveling abroad is not in the cards right now, but just trying to continue to sharpen your mind. So those are some of the things that I've been making sure that I stay on top of, and also trying to influence, you know, my young boys back at school, my friends, my peers, my family, just making sure that everybody is trying to be the best version of themselves, because when we come out of this on the other side, we got to be prepared.
Definitely. And I appreciate you sharing that message. Your note about how as a people we're resilient, it speaks to a lot of different things. And it's kind of tying me back to what I said, to what I told Larry I have for us and all of those watching. We know how to make the best out of a bad situation. We know how to get what's ours even when it's not given to us. So for all of you out there, because this kind of takes us, and I want to kind of touch on unemployment and the whole SBA loans. You know, that was big on the culture this year, especially for a lot of us we know in Chicago. Let's share a little some. Uh-oh, did it share? Here we go. Okay. Now I'm gonna start y'all off. Will it play?
Okay.
Give me 1 second, Larry. Because it was right here.
The legend.
I'm going with this, don't you? Give us a preview of what we about to see in this, Larry, while I work this out.
You just seeing some good attorneys at work, you know. They just letting you know what they could do for you. Like I said, some people be qualified for things they don't even know they qualified for because they didn't apply. So I mean, you know, it's always a guy like Daquan available for your service, you know.
There to help the people get what they need.
He got you. He gonna get you the you know, the SBA, the PPP, FEMA if you got that going, if you know somebody in Houston. Anything. You just gotta just, like I said, we're gonna get what we get out of these people.
Mhm.
I'm glad to work with the people at Car Crackers.
And for everybody watching, like, what is he talking about? You are seconds away from finding out. I promise you. I don't know if it's the snow outside that's messing with us and
It's just
all the organization, and we gonna find something. This is not
2020. It's 2020.
The White
you
Walkers
know
is
what?
out there with the snow, man.
You know, like, okay, we're gonna bring it back because for some reason it doesn't want to play for us. But for those of you who don't know, Larry also does a lot of custom skits. So if you're watching and you hear me talking about the SBA loans and he's mentioning card crackers, which we know is a big thing in Chicago, his homie Daquan, who you saw on the screen, that was a picture of him, is a lawyer. If you didn't get yours during this unemployment payout, if you didn't get yours when the SBA loans was coming out, call 1-800 card crackers and they'll help you out and pull you into it.
It's 1-800 finesse.
1-800 finesse. Got
finesse.
It.
It's all about the finesse.
Always.
I think I got something for y'all because I want it. You know what? Let's see. Okay, nope. So we'll come back to it if we can. I don't want to keep honing in on it. But with that, do you all know anyone that was personally impacted by, I won't ask about the loans and all of that, we won't put no names out, but specifically by the unemployment benefits, people who actually did, work hard and they got laid off. What was that like for people you all know?
They was making more money than they was being employed. I tell you that.
And you know what's crazy about that? That was a big thing this year, and I think we should really touch on that. I know a lot of people that were upset, that were feeling like people shouldn't have gotten the unemployment benefits because it had those extra bonuses attached to it, and they were making more than people who were still able to work. And some people literally felt like, you're getting paid to sit at home on your ass, and I have to go to work and bust mine every day. Like, how is that fair?
Yeah, a lot of people felt like a lot of things weren't fair with this whole SBA loans and grants. Because honestly, if you ask me, I feel like it really wasn't fair. I know a lot of hard workers that had to get up early and that was still just making the bare minimum, where people was really lying on majority of these applications, getting so much money. So the whole 2020 was just unfair.
But what about the people that did deserve it, though? What about people who were going to work, but they were in an industry where they can't operate in Corona? Like, is it their fault that the government decided to attach a little extra too? Because honestly, we all should have gotten extra. Even if you were still going to work, you deserve extra, So I do understand the frustration and seeing how it's not fair, but why blame somebody or have ill feelings toward them for, a bonus that we all deserve? If they were deserving. Because I get what you're saying about people lying and all of that.
I feel like anybody who got it, just they was able to get it. You can't really knock them, because that money was not somebody wasn't gonna get it. You know what I mean? And I feel like as long as, it's people who didn't have a job, right? You talk about the people who were able to work, even though they felt like it was unfair what they was getting during the pandemic. But what about the people who didn't have a job? So some of them came up, like, for real. Like, even if they got that 10,000, it was a blessing. They was able to take care of something. Or if they wanted to splurge, which most people did, hey, that's on them. But they was able to come up a little bit within whatever was going on, especially a lot of people on unemployment and stuff like that. So I think, like I said, if you know what you qualify for, you got to apply, and you got to keep your ear to the streets on where all this stuff is coming from. Even if you know somebody doing it on some maybe not straight type of stuff, but you still want to, you straight, so you should be able to still get yours without having somebody come after you later on. You know what I mean? So I feel like people just had to take chances a little bit. At the same time, just had to know what was going on, because everybody was giving out loans. Like, major corporations, I feel like people like Sears was giving out loans. It was like hella people was getting out loans. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you just have to keep yourself in it.
Yeah, I will say a lot of people definitely started businesses. Shout out to everybody that started a new business in 2020, because That was definitely well deserved. Yes.
I feel like
I don't know. All of my peoples that got it, they was like, bro, I'm going to the lot. You feel me? I'm going to the boat. I'm finna flip it. I'm about to turn 2 into 4 and 4 in the mo. You feel me?
Hey, that might be their hustle. You can't knock nobody hustle.
Nah, not at all.
Unless it's hurting somebody, you know.
The one thing I will say though is some of the folks that actually did have small businesses or that had businesses that were in need of the loans, they were using that to pay their staff. You feel me? Like pay their wages for the folks that were under them. So not everybody out here is a boss right now. Some people, that's what they need to pitch in for the families that they're, you know, accustomed to having their bills paid or making sure that they had a contribution. So it wasn't just a blessing to that person that got that loan. It was the blessing to the people that needed their boss or their superior or the CEO of that small company to keep things afloat for a month and a half, and you know, try to make ends meet. Because you know, like Cindy said, we all out here trying to get to it. We all out here trying to elevate, but the little things turn into the big things. So shout out to those that were able to get the loan, qualified for it. Shout out to those that did the right thing with it, and for those that, you know, feel me, like got to it, made it happen. I'm not knocking your hustle either, baby. Do your thing.
That Gucci belt, it feel good. At least it felt good. You know,
make it look a little better, huh?
Hey,
you got to walk in that store.
Look a little nice.
You know, you purchased that. You purchased that. I don't care who gave you the money. You purchased that.
It was mine. It's mine.
That's yours.
Yeah, during the pandemic, you needed a little luxury, you know, like all this stuff going on in the world. Why not do it yourself, you know?
Especially when we found out that our last president was paying $50 a month in federal taxes. You feel me?
That's well, listen, let's check. I think I got us our treat. Yep, I got it. So we're gonna watch this and then we're gonna kick off into the next topic. For all of you at home, here's Daquan with the SBA card cracker. What would you call it? Informational.
Yeah.
Thanks for that, Larry. Hopefully you all at home caught it, got a good laugh like I did. But I'm going to bring Bree back. She's going to take us to the next topic. I want to thank you all. Remember, just hang out because a few of you all will be back tonight to keep talking to us. All right?
Definitely.
All right.
Thank y'all. Bree, you ready for me, girl? Here we go. Look at our host, Bree Specific. Get off mute, girl. You on mute? You're on mute.
Hear me? Can you hear me?
Now we can hear you.
Period. What I look
you
like?
You are back and looking better than ever.
Look, I had to switch the background up a little bit. I was blue.
There was something going on.
Period. I had to restart my computer. It was 2020, basically. That's exactly what it was.
Gotcha. Well, you're back, looking good. We hear you. So again, how are you, my love? We didn't really get to have
I'm blessed. I cannot complain. You know, I'm just glad my Wi-Fi working. Like, this is probably the best thing that ever happened to me all day.
Understood.
That's exactly where I'm at right now.
Well, I saw you with your wine and your specific scents. Yes. I got my little New Year's flute because we are 2 days away. I got my specific scents in the background. Smell the aromas. So thank you for the candle.
No problem, love. I got mine sitting right here.
Okay, well we into it then. So we wrapped up our segment on COVID-19. Well, what would you like me to take the people into next?
So I really like what Joyce brought up, how everybody was starting Black businesses off the SBA loans and like the extra money that they was getting from the government. And I think that was something that we should definitely highlight throughout the segment, how many more Black businesses we have in 2020. I definitely think that was a positive. On top of all the other great celebrations that Black people just created and went through and unified with this year, like celebrating Juneteenth. Juneteenth in Chicago was so lit this year, along with the Black businesses, Juneteenth. Like, we celebrating our first African American vice president. Black people definitely had a lot to celebrate, and I think that the Black Lives Matter movement really owned in on, you know, the pros, not the pros and cons, but the negatives and the positives of celebrating Black lives. So I do think that we should start talking about Black Lives Matter.
Well, let's do it then. I'm going to bring in some new faces for the people, as well as a couple people we've already chatted with, and we're going to get to it, and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, girlfriend?
Hopefully my Wi-Fi is still clear and crispy, love.
I think we're going to be good, because right now you sound good.
Thank you. Just pray for me. Pray for me.
No problem. All right. So I'm going to bring in the hosts of All a Brother Knows podcast. Good evening, gentlemen. We got Black James, Big Cousin, and Benny Chase.
Baby. We in the building. What's up, Cindy?
Hey, so to join us, we will have Ricky Rampage, Power 92 personality. Hey, Ricky. Uh-oh, you there? There you go. Let me unmute you so we can hear you. How you feeling, Ricky? Ooh. 2020 is really on it. If you've watched any of the other live streams we did, I promise you there was not this many technical difficulties. How are you tonight, Ricky?
I'm straight. Is we lit? Can y'all hear me?
We lit. We live, baby.
All right, bet. All right.
I never really say that right. I always try to, but y'all make me feel good because ain't nobody made fun of me yet.
Baby.
Baby. You know, I'm gonna get that one day. We're gonna bring Coyley J back in and talk some Black Lives Matter with us. Top journalist, as I mentioned. So I think you can give us that journalistic perspective. Let's bring in Shanika Speaks.
Gang, gang.
Good evening. How are you, my love?
Gang, gang. What's up, y'all?
Gang, gang.
What's up?
So as we know, 2020 was not the first year that we've lost Black lives to the hands of police brutality or to white supremacy. Somebody clicking. Who's that clicking? Okay, thank you. So we haven't, you know, this isn't the first year that we've experienced that at all. But for some reason, I won't say for some reason, you know, for the senseless killings that happened this year, even prior to George Floyd, you know, we saw uprising. But I think, you know, if nobody remembers any other names from this year, we remember George Floyd and Breonna Taylor. As you all see, we're trying to incorporate media tonight, but I just like to make it clear on the stance of what's the word? We are making a more conscious effort to not show traumatic images to our community. So I will not be airing the video that shows the murder of George Floyd. We will not be showing, you know, any video footage that was released barely, but of the murder of Breonna Taylor or any other Black life that we lost. We do want to remember them. We want you all to reflect on what their lives meant to the world, their families, and what it did for us as a people. So let's see. I want to start with All a Brother Knows. Can you all kick us off and just talk a little about it as Black men, what it felt like experiencing the world post-murder of George Floyd?
Well, the posting of it, to be honest with you, I don't know. It was I guess I kind of numb to it. I didn't feel like shit. It felt like it felt normal, and that's sad because it's like we numb to the shit. Like we understand it was a fucked up act. Like, I mean, if that could have been anybody who got killed for unjust reason, it would have been like we would have been like in awe. But to be honest with you, we was more so focused on like the looting and shit, like all the shit that came from it. It was the after effect. It's never really the initial act.
That was definitely a surprise. The after effect.
Yeah, like that's like
I wasn't expecting that at all.
Like it just came up.
Motherfuckers getting killed by the police. It's like, man, it's like
niggas get killed by niggas, so everybody dying in this motherfucker like some type of weird whack way. So you know what I'm saying? But during that initial period, when we seen it, I'm not gonna lie. As for me, I was like, yeah, that's bogus, but it wasn't anything like stop the world. Like, nah, it's like, yeah, I mean, this is the fuck been happening for centuries. Like, since we came to America, what the fuck, like, this was going on. We can expect that of America. We can expect that of police. I don't even understand why we're getting shocked anymore. Like, listen, we're not gonna do nothing about it. Stop being shocked. Stop rallying. Stop talking about the protest. You're gonna do something about it, or expect it to continue. That's it.
Facts.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, you go ahead.
Nope, because it's best you go. Go ahead.
Nah, but shit, like you said, the after effects with the looting and everything was going on and the protesting and just bombing shit and breaking that shit and taking that shit.
Yeah, we never see Chicago like that. We had like cars on fire. My man Adam ran horses through the street. This shit was like Sodom and Gomorrah, man. This shit was like, it was like, wow. And listen, I think seeing our city on fire, like engulfed in that shit, how it was, that was more like shocking than seeing actual murder of like George Floyd. Not to say like one was more important, like that was we understand like George Floyd's murder, like the murder of any black man, it's more important. But we were more shocked to see what happened afterward in our city than the actual like you know what I'm saying, the actual like murder. Well, innocent, you know what I'm saying?
What surprised me that when Breonna Taylor got killed, like nobody really like none of the women really ever like really rallied this shit. Like they was real silent. I didn't really see no big uprise or uproar. That was real shocking to me. And it's crazy. It's fucked up that happened to her, but like it happened to her, and now we all can see that we all the same. Like the women ain't better than men, the men ain't better than women.
We seen a lot of social. We seen a big social movement from Breonna Taylor, but it was like when George Floyd got killed, it was like immediate, like punish. It was like immediate reaction. But Breonna Taylor got killed, it was like a delay almost, like it had happened, and then we didn't know all the specifics. I guess because of how they handled it in the state she was, but it was like a delay, and then it was like a big social like rally and movement behind it. But it wasn't anything like George Floyd. Like niggas went like crazy for George Floyd.
Hashtag.
Sorry.
Yeah, so I understand what you all were saying. I think Corley was chiming in saying like that's why the whole say her name hashtag. I even think say her name dates back to Sandra Bland. But I know it was a big thing. But for you all watching as you were talking, I felt it appropriate to show that clip, which intentionally did not have audio. I heard you all couldn't hear the crackers one, but we'll get back to that. But this one, I just wanted to show you all the silent footage because that was some aftermath right here in Chicago on 47th and Lake Park. You know, you all mentioned the looting and the uprising that happened post George Floyd murder. So I wanted people to be able to see that as they were listening to your points. And I do understand what you were saying. And I definitely, I see why it felt, you know, like it was more of a social media thing and more of just kind of using Breonna's image, but not that same uprising. And I think lots of things contributed to that though. You know, I don't think it was intentionally done that way. I think that there are always a lot of protests that we don't see, because it's the peaceful ones they don't show. You know, it's the ones where somehow they turn into violence and misdirection that we get to see.
The ones I want to see.
Sadly, those are the only ones that count though.
Yeah, I think it was just the timing of everything. Like everything that was happening, like it was happening back to back to back. And finally, when it happened to George Floyd, like man, like we fed up now. Fuck it, let's just go crazy.
Yeah.
If we not rallying financially,
keep doing this shit. Nah,
if we not rallying financially or like legislatively, it really don't fucking matter. Like all the social shit, like okay, like we got a big conscious wave of like a group of people, we can all come together and have the same opinion. What does that transform into? What does that look like in a practical standpoint? Nothing. It's just that. So if we're not rallying on some money shit or like some political shit, we really not rallying. We just a group of angry motherfuckers with opinions and not really moving. So that was cool to see like the unison. So we all like saying stuff, but that silent protest shit and just say a name and black out your profile screen, man, it really doesn't do anything. We've never seen that work. We've never seen that be effective. to any capacity.
So what I'll say to that is, and I want to give some of our other contributors a chance to chime in on this, especially since you all brought up Breonna Taylor. It would be nice to hear from a Black woman. I feel exactly where you're coming from, but I don't want to promote that it's always useless, because I'm no political expert, so I can't speak to exactly what has come from and how valuable it actually is, the results that have come from the rallies. But it's to my understanding that because of the support behind Breonna Taylor and her murder, at least now in Kentucky, they banned no-knock warrants. It's small fish to us, how whatever. I'm sure they're still going to do what they want to do. However, I don't want it to go unnoted that something changed, whether it was to pacify us or not. Somebody somewhere got something to change. So I always want to keep people encouraged to, however you choose to rally, because we're all different. Some of us are radical. Some of us rather fall in line a little bit. Always speak your truth.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Shanika, chime in for us. Like, as a Black woman, what was it like seeing Breonna Taylor's face plastered everywhere and understanding that, she was murdered and her boyfriend ends up in custody, when he did nothing?
So I think the difference with those two situations was, I don't think we got to see footage of like what happened to Breonna Taylor like quickly. We didn't see it, right? We didn't see what happened. So we just heard like the police bust in and, they were shooting and, we didn't see what happened. With George Floyd, we watched it. We watched a man beg for his life. We watched him like literally go from alive to lifeless. Mm-hmm. So I think that's why it was such a big deal around George Floyd, because we was like, you watched a murder live on TV, like you watched it happen. The stuff with Breonna Taylor, like it came after the fact. Like I started seeing the footage after, like when they showed you her house and how many bullet holes was everywhere, and then like a documentary came out. So it was equally upsetting, but I just think that we didn't see her like everything that happened up front. So it wasn't like, I'm upset, because you really didn't know. You just kind of heard what happened. But at the same time, I think just like with everything that was going on with Black Lives Matter, I had got like, I'm glad you didn't play it. I got exhausted with just seeing Black people get killed. Because I'm just like, every time you turn on a damn TV, every time you on social media, somebody posting a video of a white person killing a Black person. And how that impacted me was, I work for like I'm the only Black person at my company. So I was at work and although I was like, we remote, shit was fucked up. I was mad. So I'm like, y'all gonna have to tread lightly around me right now. Like, this ain't the best time to try to pull me in meetings and want to talk and Zoom calls because I'm upset. So I brought it up and I made sure everybody was as uncomfortable as I was watching the video. So I was in meetings like, well, yeah, what's diversity like? Who do we talk to about inclusivity and, like how Black people are treated? And I made sure I said like Black people. I wanted everybody in them Zoom meetings to be so uncomfortable.
Not minorities, Black people.
Right. Black people. And I had to explain to them like George Floyd, that's like looking at like my uncle or somebody that happened to him. So everybody, I ruffled a lot of feathers at my company. I know people was pissed and I didn't even care. Like I was on
Thank you for doing your part, baby. Thank you.
Yeah. Man, I had to, because I'm just like, how do you think we okay coming in every day after we just seen this? Y'all seen the shit on TV. I know y'all seen it because I seen it.
And especially you gotta be that voice. Like they should know this. You shouldn't have to be taught to sympathize with.
Exactly. That's true. I feel like I had to let them know, like, this ain't the time for me to be politically correct, and it's not the time for me to care about your feelings and code switch with you right now. This voice I'm talking in, I was talking in this voice to them because you got the corporate voice. I had code switch real quick.
Code switching, yeah.
But I was giving them real Shanika Speaks voice, and they was just like, whoa, like,
girl, you probably scared them.
Look, I know
I'm good thing, though. It's a good thing.
I know I'm really scared.
I want to use this.
Hey, Nika, you got to be careful. You working in that job by yourself with all them Caucasians. What's the location so I can fill the application?
Text us the addresses. We'll be out there.
I got you. I'm hiring more people that look like me every day.
Period. Right. There you go, girl. So it's these are topics we could talk about all night, right? But I want to, as we kind of hone in on this one, I actually just received a text. So according to CBS News, the police have killed 111 Black people since George Floyd. So that was just in a matter of months. According to CBS, feel free to fact check, you know. But I think that's important to share. They've killed the police. 111 Black people have died at the hands of the police since George Floyd. And I'm saying that to say, I found it very interesting when we went into uproar, when every major city's on fire, when Gucci, Louis, Fendi, Prada are being raided day after day, everybody's losing their money, losing their merchandise. We saw a lot of support from large white corporations. And that was specifically around the time of Juneteenth. Everybody had a Juneteenth campaign. And Ricky, if you know, we want to get you to chime in here, your lovely voice. If you could speak to us a little bit about, you know, what that looked like for you. Like, did you believe it when these corporations were issuing these PSAs and showing support for us, or how'd that make you feel? Something in your background is clicking, by the way, too, just so you know. I don't know what that is. But it's like a, yeah.
I don't think that's Ricky.
Well, I had him muted, and then when I unmuted it was him.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. Is it down?
A little bit bad. I think maybe it was however you. Oh, it's bad, but it's okay. Just tell us how you feel about it, and we'll get a move on.
No, so you, like I said, you asked me the wrong question. You feel me? I ain't really into Juneteenth. That's not really my forte. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
But I mean, you don't have to be into Juneteenth to feel like if the white corporations were, you know, authentic in their support or not.
Look, around all that, Corona done messed up money. I was out trying to pay rent. I really wasn't worried about Juneteenth. I was trying to get my rent paid. I really wasn't in tune with the news. I really wasn't in tune with none of that because the streets was crazy. You feel me?
Yeah, they were.
Yeah, I really wasn't big on the Juneteenth situation. I can't lie to you.
Well, I think it's funny. Everybody had a Juneteenth campaign, but we're in the middle of Kwanzaa right now, and I haven't seen one large white corporation issue a statement on Kwanzaa. I don't know, Corley, what you think?
Right, they was popular back then for to use Black people for their marketing, but now that we ain't talking no more, and Black Lives Matter ain't trending, and you know, holding blacks ain't cool no more. So it was just a PR stunt. They want to act like I think Cody was the one that said they acting like Black people just came out or something, and that was just like so true. Like y'all didn't know that we had feelings prior to these things happening. I don't know what happened to Cindy, but
shout out to all my Black people that made some money off the Juneteenth shirts because they was going crazy.
Definitely. Like I'm glad that we
my Black people check the bag.
celebrated this like as a whole this year. Like I feel like we should have been doing this. We should all be celebrating the year that everybody was free, not just one people.
Definitely. Well, thank you all so much. Y'all know how this go. We're gonna jump into the next thing. Keep it moving tonight. One day we gonna have to, like, maybe next year, God willing, you know, Corona's all gone, whatever, like really do this live for real so we can have more time together or something. But don't go nowhere. We ain't over yet. But it really is honing in on me that these topics deserve so much time. But hopefully for you all and for everybody watching, you understand that we're doing our best to hit the main points. So I'm gonna bring our girl Bree back in, and she's gonna keep us moving for tonight. And we'll come back with our lovely contributors. Hey Bree, hey Bree.
Hey girl, hey.
Hostess with the mostest, baby. Where we going now?
I do want to say, when Cody tweeted, that was probably one of my favorite tweets of 2020 during the Juneteenth campaign, as I like to say. Like he did tweet, like, you know, these corporations really acting like Black people just now coming down. And that's literally what it was, because everybody from like Target to Shell was like, Juneteenth, we stand with Black people, Juneteenth, but now it's Kwanzaa. We ain't getting
silent. And it's so funny. It's so funny that it was worded like we just came out when so many of those companies were built on the backs of Black people.
For sure.
You know, so it's like, my goodness. But I'm happy now that we can see, know your worth, you know as Black people, don't fall for the hype. but don't sell yourself short either. Hey, in our first segment, we heard use and abuse. Get what's yours. Finesse the system the way they finessing us.
Honestly.
And other sentiments are just, understand you're not alone. Don't be afraid to speak up for Black voices, even if you are the only Black voice in the space. So.
Yes, definitely don't be afraid, and make sure we continue to support each other too. Even if it's like a small Black business, a large African American corporation, make sure that we support each other when it comes to unifying businesses and resources and grants, loans, whatever it is. Like it's black banks out here that people don't know about. So make sure we're doing that. Going from Black Lives Matter, I do think we should spend some time to recognize some of the souls that we lost this year.
Yes.
George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, of course, but even on like a larger scale, like public figures, Kobe Bryant and Gianna Bryant, Alex Trebek, Chadwick Boseman. Like that one was really like 2020 was like a year. Legit, it's definitely been a devastating year, and we lost a lot of great, amazing souls. And I think that our influencers can definitely chime in on that.
Cool. Well, I do as you say, madam. Off to get them. We'll be back, girl.
Okay, I'm gonna go back to smelling my candle and drinking.
All right, so we're gonna bring Chris Densmore back. Because I don't think we can talk appropriately about Kobe without a sports enthusiast on. Larry, we ready? We're gonna bring you back, Larry Legend. Let's bring my girl Joycey J. We're gonna bring you back. So I want to take this moment and I want to share a photo from what I would say was the first big impactful death of the year. Not the only, but rest in peace to Kobe and Gianna Bryant. January 26th, they lost their lives in a helicopter crash with 7 other beautiful souls, excuse me. I know many people are sports fans, so that's why they love Kobe, other people were just fans of his in general, different aspects of his story they felt they could relate to, the work that Kobe Bryant was doing for women's sports, for sports period, the whole Black Mamba theme, so many people felt that they resonated with that. And I just think that it was a heck of a way to start the year off. So Chris, can you talk to us about you are directly inside of the sports world. You're not just an average fan, right. You ain't watching it at home like the rest of us. You get to be on these courts.
Right.
What was that like?
So I will say, it's one of those moments where you know exactly where you were when it happened. You know exactly who you were with, what you were doing. For me, I was in Miami preparing for the Super Bowl. My department, we were getting ready to do some hits and talk about Patrick Mahomes and talk about the 49ers. And when the news came out, people had like papers in their hand, things in their hand. You could hear stuff hitting the floor. I know my hands went up like this, and it was an awestruck moment. We all had to try to stay professional to get the news out, get it out accurately. And what was kind of whack in the beginning, and this is not to disparage any other media network, but shout out to What's the Word, because y'all do a phenomenal job over there getting out the stuff that we need to have, and y'all get it out accurately. But TMZ had reported that Kobe and his daughter Gianna had passed away before his family was even notified. You know what I'm saying? They had some players on the Mamba team, and I believe it was a parent that was on the helicopter ride as well. But it was devastating, man. And the resonation from it is a positive thing. You even saw like Russell Wilson in a game last week or over the weekend out in Seattle. He walked into his game with a Mamba jersey on, with 8 on the front, 24 on the back. It's one of those catch-22s where Kobe was an awesome basketball player and a wonderful athlete, but it's almost like he's appreciated that much more after he retired and after he passed away. You see so many people talking about the Mamba mentality, taking it into everyday life, working harder, trying to be better for one reason or another. And you got to think, with so much devastation, like we just lost Nipsey last year. It just happened. You know what I'm saying?
That's coming off the Juice WRLD death. Juice WRLD died in
lost
December
Juice.
2019. So that feels like 2020, you know?
Exactly. And these are men and women. Y'all just got through talking about Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, amongst others. These are people that are going into that next phase in their life. Kobe had just retired. I watched the interview with him on All the Smoke yesterday in preparation for this topic. And he was talking about how he was at peace with what he gave to the game, and you know how so many people are looking at him like he's the big homie when that was never the case when he was in the league. Everybody hated Kobe. I personally hated Kobe because I thought that he was he was trying to be Mike so bad. But I can tell you, Cindy, I promise you, the week after the Super Bowl, I finally decompressed and I just broke down and cried. And I didn't realize that I had that much respect and reverence for Kobe, but it's just the symbol that he was, the athlete he was, the man he was, the father he was. We lost a real good one way too soon.
I think you hit on something, and Larry, I hear you about to chime in. So cool. You hit on the fact that, you know, it took you a while and then it hit you. You broke down. And I will say that as someone who I am a general sports fan, but there really is no sport that makes me like a super sport enthusiast. You know, like I watch the games, like I like baseball, I'll go to games. You know, that's
all good.
A hobby for me. But I'm saying that to give context to it. Didn't even take me a week. I didn't have any attachment to Kobe, and I cried that day. Not only because of just my natural human emotions, like that's the tragedy. Even if I had never heard of Kobe Bryant, I think would make anybody, you know, possibly shed a tear. But obviously I'm familiar enough with him where it hit different, you know, like I date someone who is a Kobe fanatic. Like I've heard different stories, you know, through the years of Kobe Bryant and what he means to little black boys, you know, like like it hurt. And to know that his 13-year-old daughter goes with him, like
daughter,
wild, like that's wild. And you mentioned, you know, where you were. I know specifically where I were, and I think it was something in the air that day, because I want to say within minutes of the Kobe news, I got a personal phone call about I would call it a family tragedy. You know, no one passed away, but it was a devastating moment for me. So it's like back to back, we're like, oh my God. So I'm trying to keep up with that, but then you're trying to keep up with all these news outlets, like you said. And I think for everyone, you know, I share that story to relate. I'm sure I was the only person who had something else going on at the moment either. So when you have so much hitting you from so many different directions, I think that was a heck of a start to the year that no one really thought it was going to set the tone for.
It still doesn't feel real, you know? Still.
Man.
I find when you see some of the players in the league now doing some great things, when they, you know, with LeBron and AD doing their thing out in the bubble and bringing a championship home for the Lakers, it's almost like, damn, Kobe's supposed to be there. You feel me? Like Kobe's supposed to be there. It's still crazy. I find myself every other week like wanting to tweet like, damn, Kobe really gone? Like I'm still waiting on him to pop up out of nowhere.
Kobe, you know, and his death hit so differently because it's also not only he was so for our kids, he was starting a whole league called Mamba with kids. And on top of that, it was like his death was just so crazy because he always take the helicopter. Everyone knew Kobe loved his helicopters. And I just found it so crazy. How did cartoons have this man death way before we even knew? I mean, I don't know if anyone know, but I mean, in a few cartoons, they had Kobe dying in helicopters. So it was also a lot of conspiracy going around about his death. Like, hold on, man, was this planned? Because him and Ice Cube did have something big that was about to be bigger than the NBA league. So, I mean, his death is so questionable. It's devastating. It's heartbreaking. That broke a lot of hearts. And I don't know if anyone know, but my last name is Bryant. So I remember when I was little, I used to go around telling people, hey, yeah, Kobe Bryant, that's my brother. That's bro. You feel me? So, like, I never met him, but he was just such a huge part in our community. Just not even Black community. I mean, everybody loved Kobe. Yeah. You feel me? Everybody. So that was heartbreaking to a lot of people. A lot of people.
Larry, what were your thoughts?
I was a Kobe fan. Like I had NBA courtside Kobe Bryant in '96. Like I've been a fan for. I got these. Matter of fact, for Christmas for my Crocs. Like so I was in LA when it happened. So it was like real crazy for me. And just like you said, I had a call. I was in LA and I was actually out there for the Grammys with my cousin BJ. He had got nominated, so we was just out there kicking it, you know, having a good time. Woke up to a call about my auntie passing, and we get up. This on Sunday morning. We get up, we go outside the spot we at, and we smoke. And as we rolling up, we noticed it was foggy as hell outside. Like we in LA, we in the mountains and shit, so it's like super foggy out there. And as we was rolling up, we got a text message that Kobe died. And I just dropped my phone. They was looking at me like, you know, what happened? I told them what happened. And it kind of like ruined the day a little bit. Like, I mean, a lot, because we already in LA. We still have to go to a few we tried to kick it just to throw ourselves off after the Grammys and all of that stuff. And it was just like eerie a little bit because it was like we kicking it with people who grew up in LA. I got my connections that I feel like strongly about with Kobe just because of how I grew up. Like I grew up a fan of him, so it was already something to me. And then people's texting me here and there just because they know I fuck with Kobe like that. So it was just real eerie. All those kids, like you could tell he reached he touched a lot of people in the city because it was like different. It wasn't about the Grammys at all. The Grammys was about him in his building. It was just so much going on in LA when that happened. And I really haven't broke down yet. I don't know. It's still shocking to me. And then on top of that, like I look at things like his daughter passing with him and him opening the Mamba Academy, giving the knowledge to all the players that he played with or you know, the younger guys coming up, they was coming to him for advice or whatnot. And I think like, man, like he gave his daughter way more than he gave everybody else. And now that's gone. You know, like he was a super student to the game. So like just the game took a big hit that they don't realize as much as a lot of people. Some people realize it, but a lot of people don't really realize how much that the game of basketball took a hit just because like the knowledge that he had, the stuff that he went through. Like as you said, Chris, I believe it was like nobody was a fan of Kobe coming up. Nobody liked Kobe. So like Kobe. We've had major arguments. You know, as a shorty, like nah, that's my nigga. Like T-Mac ain't him. You know, I used to go there with niggas. I'd have fought niggas over this shit. Like, you know,
T-Mac was my guy.
So you ain't new to this. She true to this, huh?
Yeah, I respect all the players, but you can't tell me nothing about Bean. Like that was my nigga. Like after Mike, it's Kobe. So it was just crazy. And I just think like all the people who missed out on what he could have gave the game is crazy. But it's kind of like a Kobe-esque story, like the way it ended. Like, of course, like we know about the helicopters and shit, but just him passing, it's the way it was. Like we knew him for basketball, so I guess the reason I haven't really broke down like that or anything is because I still watch YouTube videos, or you know, if that come on TV, we gonna watch them. I'm watching Kobe. Some of my guys are super Kobe fans too, because we had to stick together back in 2005. You know what I mean? Like. So we keep him alive because what we loved about him was already documented. Everything else was extracurricular. I mean, you know, him being a family man and stuff. That's stuff that his family got to deal with, and just him being here is not being here rather is tough. Just because of, like I said, the knowledge, the stuff that he was about to do, like y'all was saying, even like what Joycey said about him starting other businesses. It was something I read today about him. He was trying to come out with a shoe brand.
Yep.
Like for himself.
Mamba shoes. Yep.
Yeah. So it was like a lot of stuff that he was going to get into. We didn't get to see, but I don't want to say his purpose, but what he gave us joy from initially, we still got that. So I just take that, and I guess that's kind of why I haven't really took it like that. Plus, I could play 2K. He on that still, so you know, if I want to bust somebody with him, you know, like that's
real quick. I just want to say one thing, real quick. All the accolades he had: 18-time All-Star, 4-time All-Star game MVP, league MVP, 5-time champion, Emmy Award-winning production. Was writing children's novels. First ballot Hall of Famer coming up this year. When we talking about the class highlighted by Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett, make sure y'all look out and tune in to the Naismith Hall of Fame speech. Whoever's going to give it, whether it's his wife, whether it's Shaq, Jeannie Buss, that is probably going to be one of the 5 times outside of, again, my child being born this year, but that might be one of the times this upcoming season where I break down in tears. Because anybody that's watching that, if you don't shed a tear, if you don't get emotional about that, you ain't got a pulse.
Well, I'll say your real quick tidbit was actually a perfect transition, because I wanted to speak to Larry's point. You know, he accomplished so much while here. And if I'll be honest, I do think it's fair to say his purpose was served because he still left a foundation for so much more to come. You know, so he's still working even in the clouds. And I want to, you know, Kobe deserved his own segment for sure. We don't have time to get into everybody else, but I want to acknowledge some other people we lost. Chadwick Boseman. I think that was a big shock in 2020. You know, RIP Black Panther. Alex Trebek, as Bree Specific mentioned, like somebody hit me like LOL, Alex Trebek. And it's like, if you grew up with, you know, and you was around your grandma or somebody, you watched Jeopardy. Like, rest in peace to Jewel, because I watched Jeopardy with my lady all the time. So when Alex died, y'all don't know how hurt I was. I couldn't call her and tell her that Alex Trebek died. But I got this little thing that everybody in heaven get to meet each other. So I'm hoping, you know, she got to meet her mans, because my grandmother loved Jeopardy, you know. Natalie Dezelle Reed. And I'll show her a picture because I feel like so many people don't know her by that name. But when you see it, it was like, oh my God, that's who you're talking about. You know, she recently, look, Larry, you know exactly. You know, so a lot of people, I think she was influential for us. Another picture I want to share with you all is of Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I have no problem being transparent and say I had no idea the impact and the fighting that she had done for women's rights, you know, in her lifetime until her death. And I think it's important to acknowledge people like that, because everybody we lost that was influential wasn't only in entertainment, you know, and her fight was not just for white women, it was for all women. And a lot of people stand by that. And so, you know, we thank people like her. Naya Rivera was another big one. I think was a big shock for the culture this year. Everybody wants to get on Big Sean's case about taking his song down, but it's like, you know, I'm sure the man's grieving. Like, figure out different things, bigger fish to fry. But Andre Harrell, another shock this year. You know, we saw Diddy get vulnerable again. We saw him vulnerable when he lost Kim, but now he lost Andre, you know, and there's so many more names. And we could be here and rest in peace to all these souls. But before we close off this segment, I want to acknowledge specifically a couple rappers who were murdered this year because of the impact that had on us. And I'm going to bring in all a brother knows. I'm gonna bring y'all back to chime in on this as well. Just because I know, you know, in the podcasting world, different topics to get into. I think the first big one I remember this year was Duck. I think Duck was back in March, if I'm not mistaken. And you know, so I think the biggest thing about us hearing about the murder of FBG Duck was that he got killed not only in broad daylight, but on one of the richest streets in downtown Chicago. That blew they blew this man down outside of I think if it wasn't Dior, it was like Dolce I think it was Dolce and Gabbana.
Shopping for his son.
And I will say, how I mentioned, you know, we stay away from trauma videos as a platform. I do my best to stay away from them personally as well. But somehow I came across this one and I was literally like flabbergasted. Like my mouth just fell open watching. I do understand there's certain protocols, you know, when you are a first response worker and things like that, but to see so many police officers surrounding this man's dying body as he is still alive, not dead body, but dying, blows my mind. You know, I understand it's a crime scene, it's this, that, and the other, but it makes you wonder, could he still be alive? You know, could things have gone differently if someone showed a little compassion? So, you know, all the Brother Knows hosts, I brought you guys back in. Would you like to chime in on just kind of what you feel the murder of FBG Duck did for not even just the Chicago community, but rap as a whole? You muted, y'all going.
Just another wake up call. It's like when you you a public figure, rapper, whatever, and everybody knows your face. Everybody know who you are. You could be in a room, 5, 6 people. You don't know none of these people, but they know who you are. So you just got to be mindful of that, because at any time, somebody could be making a phone call, sending a text out, and your life could be over with just like that. It's crazy. So it's just basically like the black man plight. This is like again, some more typical shit. It was just like, you know, it should be highlighted because it needs to stop. You know, we ain't with the sucker shit. However, we're not gonna like negate the fact that this is typical shit in Chicago. And it's not just now in this generation. Shit been lit before we was born. I mean, this shit started like with Italians and Irish mobsters. This gangster shit in Chicago, period. It's just like, this is just a time where like they highlighting black people because hip hop culture is like the number one like generation. It's the focus of the world right now. So everything we got going on is highlighted. But this gangster shit, see, that's different. Like, that's just some gangster shit that took place. You know what I'm saying? They ain't really had nothing to do with nothing else. That was just straight street shit.
Exactly. So it's like you gotta get your money. You gotta get your money and like try move different. Like, man, you gotta move out the city. Move out the city.
Well, let's talk about it. We lost Vaughn this year. You know, rest in peace, King Vaughn. King Vaughn didn't get murdered in Chicago. Let's talk about how it follows you and you know what it looks like to be a young black man who maybe didn't come from the best of circumstances, but you are trying to change. You're trying to do something different. Like you said, get money, get out the city. That's what he did. He's down there under Dirk's wing, trying to get money, trying to do better. I'm sure no saint, nobody on this earth is, but it's like, you know, we have to acknowledge his death and what that did for the culture as well. Because I can say personally, his death was the one that really made me feel like there is an agenda out here to wipe Chicago's talent off the map. You know, we breed some of the most authentic, talented people, not only in rap, but look at Chief Keef, literally, like, you know, he's still living, thankfully, but literally blew up a whole nother genre of rap, you know, years ago. So it's just like, you get stuff like that. We're not the only city, but we're one of the most prominent cities to do it. Yet, piece by piece, a lot of our big stars are falling off the map to death. What can we say to that?
It's like you live in your music. When you live in your music and you carrying your pride on your shoulders and you walking around with it like that and you just ready to go at any given moment.
It's the mentality.
You got to change your mentality. You can have the bread, you got a celeb, you can move. But if the mentality's still there, that shit gonna go with you. If that shit inside you, that shit gonna go with you. Then your entourage. It's a lot of moving pieces to that though. You know what I'm saying? I'm not big on conspiracies and think it's like it's a plot to like wipe like Chicago artists out. No, because I mean it's still the Chicago rappers and Chicago artists, musicians that's doing great. Lupe Fiasco, my boy. It's a lot of different dudes. You know what I'm saying? I think it's just like when you come from Chicago, it's the mentality to come with it.
Exactly.
And we take that shit elsewhere.
And Chicago got that stigma about them. So it's like, if you gon' move around like that and talk like that, you got to understand these people they not finna play because they thinking you ready to kill them at any time. They feel like they can lose their life.
You heard what Dirk said. Dirk told him on FaceTime, hey, stop playing with the auto, boy. They trying to run it up. This shit real life fact though. So it's like that mentality never leaves you. Like, bro, like, you know what I'm saying? Vaughn, he definitely like, he got the bag. But he's still like from the old though. He's still BD. It is what it is. Like he ain't never gonna drop there. So when niggas get to like talking greasy elsewhere, he gonna do what he know. He gonna go. And everybody around gonna be in that same shit. It just so happening like, yeah, he leaving the show and shit. The ops got upper hand. You know how it go. Once whoever got the ups, that's who score. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how it go, man. This shit could happen anywhere.
And that's another killing that was caught on camera, so that's why I feel like it was so effective.
Again.
Like when you see it live, and he's like, "Damn, that it be like that. Like it's that simple, it be that quick. Like it don't be nothing to like go. Oh my god, like it just be that quick. A snap of a finger, you could just die. Bro.
And it ain't hip hop shit. It's gangster shit. Same thing with Nip.
Exactly.
It ain't no hip hop shit. It's street shit. It's a.
I was watching.
We merge street shit and hip hop shit. And that's why everything getting confusing. Like, we got to leave this street shit and start bringing it to the industry. That's kind of what T.I. was saying, but he said it at the wrong time.
He said it wrong, yeah. He said it at the wrong time, and he said it wrong. He got to consult his publicist a little better next time. I actually want to bring in Ben the World. He's been in the background for a minute. I was looking for you, and I lost you, but now you're here. And I think this is a great time to bring you in. For those of you who don't know Benda, he has music affiliation, you know, dating years back, a songwriter, influencer, So as we're moving on, you know, from celebrity deaths and kind of closing off the topic with these killings of rappers, is there anything you could share? Because I think the host of all the Brother Notes they've made great points about how there's hip hop stuff, you know, and how sometimes the world collides. Just anything we could take away from it, or what was most impactful about it for you this year?
I mean, that Vaughn shit definitely bothered me. You know what I'm saying? Like a Chicago person passing in Atlanta. The streets are heavily involved in music in Chicago. So, like, with that being said, it's like I just feel like we need to separate entertainment and the business. Like, so there's so many, even in LA, gang culture is heavily involved in music, but it's like, where's the separation in that? Because in LA, you see Bloods doing songs with Crips. And I just think that it's really unfortunate to see Vaughn or anybody, Pop Smoke, all of those guys, like lose their life so early on in their career. And I just think it goes back to family too, though. You know what I'm saying? Like your exposures. You know, I know kids that their father was a drug dealer and a killer, and the kid didn't even have much interaction with the dad, and the fucking kid grew up to be a drug dealer and a killer. You know what I'm saying?
I get it. And I mean, with that, you mentioned Pop Smoke, so you know, rest in peace to him. I want everybody watching to understand Vaughn and Dunk weren't the only two to go. You know, but they hit home for all of us Chicagoans. Mo3, a Dallas rapper, Nick Blicky, New York. If I missed any other, you know, rapper that was murdered this year, you know, rest in peace. Please charge it to our heads and not our hearts. You know, and with that, I thank all of you for your commentary on this segment. We're gonna hop into the next one because time is a rolling. So I'm gonna put you all in the back, chill out for me, and I'm gonna bring Miss Bree Specific, hostess with the mostest, in so she can guide us to the next round. Hey, Bree.
Hey, y'all. Hey. If you're just now tuning in, welcome, welcome, welcome. So what's the word? Top hip hop cultural impacts of 2020, sponsored by Specific Sense. Go ahead and get your candles. It's snowing outside. It's a good time to get some candles, honey.
Keep you nice and warm and smelling good.
How you doing, Sandy? You doing an amazing job.
Oh, thank you. So are you. I'm trying. I always hate when, you know, we get on here with such good, intense topics, like, or even a year like now, like usually the recaps are much more fun. And like I see, you know, a lot of people, if you're familiar with the content, you get to see the edited version. So yeah, the funny stuff, but it's like 2020 was such a heavy year. It's hard to have fun talking about this stuff. Like, don't get me wrong, there was some fun stuff that we trying to get to, you know, so everybody can get on with their evenings and prepare their New Year's Eve palace, their house. I hope y'all ain't going out. Corona is still very real. You know, but so the fun stuff is there, but I think there was so much for us to take away from this year that it's like, I hate that, you know, we're on such a time constraint. But I'm doing it, girl. We making it work.
Yeah, I do like that it's live because we did go through a lot of traumatic experiences this year. You know, but as far as the influencers, you really get like that raw feeling of how they really felt, or that raw feeling of where they were when they initially heard that Kobe Bryant died, or when they saw King Von get shot in the middle of the street. So I think that's good for the audience to really see that initial raw emotion from them as they talk about it. But rest in peace to Von and Duck. Chicago definitely took a hit this year when it came to the hip hop scene. But since we are on the subject of hip hop, I think this was a great year for female rappers in hip hop for sure. For sure.
I agree with you.
The City Girls to Mulatto to Ruby Rose and Megan Thee Stallion, especially, honey. She had a year. 2020 was Megan Thee Stallion.
I agree. Let's let me bring some of the ladies back in, and I'm bringing a couple guys. We can get Benda back on. Give him, you know, get that music industry insight. We're gonna bring Ricky back in, you know, like let me bring a couple of the guys and girls in, because I think all parties will have some interesting things to say about this Megan Thee Stallion incident.
For sure. I'm gonna go
all right.
My way, honey.
Get it, girl. All right, Benda. So we on the topic. I'm bringing in my girl Shanika Speaks, bringing in my girl Corley J. And we got Ricky Rampage. So we're talking Megan Thee Stallion, which entails the shooting incident where she alleged that Tory Lanez shot her, made it very clear. He had I appreciate whoever's listening in the background, but I can hear y'all. Somebody got it going. Y'all hear that? Look, Corley like, yeah, I hear it, but I wasn't gonna say nothing. No, but his response, he made a response album, whatever. A lot of people's like, well, that was just his last way of trying to get his bag before he got, yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
You know, before he got locked up or whatever, which who knows what's going on with that trial, whatever. And even Megan responded herself. So I want to briefly just kind of tap into why that was impactful for the culture. And we can talk about how it yielded the Protect Black Women movement. So Benda, you can kick us off. Like, what was your take on the whole Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion incident?
So it's interesting to me, right? I'm gonna say this, right? Tory didn't really start having problems in music until he got his master's back. Then when the night that shit happened, you know, his weapon was by the police. The weapon was never fired. That's what they said. So his weapon was never fired. If an officer sees a weapon that's fired or a crime scene, I think they would respond to it like a crime scene. Then later on, Megan comes out and says, Tory shot me. However, I mean, if he committed a crime, like the police would have handled that. And then me being a professional, like, I'm going to say this, Tory pays his fucking team. He pays his publicist, his manager, all these people that work for you. They work for you. So like, if I was involved in any type of crime, you couldn't tell me that my team is just leaking out information that's within, you know what I'm saying, against our best interest or their paycheck. That shit don't make sense to me.
So you giving me conspiracy theory vibes, like
I'm giving you fact vibes. Those are facts. Them is the facts.
You know what?
I'm not refuting. I'm just telling. Like it sounds like you ain't necessarily believe in Megan. So I want to be clear on that.
Megan might have some conspiracy vibes. I'm just telling you what the facts are.
Look, what really blew me about this whole situation was people. If he did it or not, whatever. If he did it. People saying that Megan Thee Stallion was a snitch. Like, how you gonna call somebody a snitch that is a victim to a situation that she didn't want to be in? Like, if I'm out chilling with friends and somebody shoot me, I'm not supposed to tell who shot me? Like, what? How is she a snitch? So you're calling a victim a snitch. You're saying that if somebody is a victim of a shooting, a rape, they shouldn't tell?
Please, Ricky, we want to hear from you.
This is the thing about everybody who rapping about this lifestyle. You can't rap about that lifestyle. I'm from the trenches, where you from, and then when some treacherous happen, you go to the police. That's not how it goes.
I'm sorry, but when has Megan Thee Stallion ever rapped about that she was a gangster? Like, what are you talking about?
What?
So even no, but I want to throw a bone in because this is getting good. This is the content that people want. I want to throw a bone in, Ricky. Can I throw? I can't throw no bone. Ricky won't let me.
Huh?
Okay, I can throw my phone. Thank you. What I wanted to throw in there was the story goes that she didn't even snitch right away. This was a woman who was allegedly shot, took the stance of, I'm not even going to make this a bigger issue. I'm not going to report it to the police. I'm going to get healed and go about my business. And then social media gets a wind of this alleged situation and gets to trolling and making whatever accusations, which I have the video for y'all, but you see the technical difficulties we've experienced. She gets on live and makes it very clear that I had no intention of ever saying this, but since you all want to play with me, I will make it very clear. Yes, Tory Lanez shot me. That is a quote. I didn't want to do this, but here I am saying it. So I don't think it's fair to just jump to snitch or jump to this is the life you chose.
I'm telling
that man at first.
Exactly.
If you shoot me, I'm telling. I don't care who you is.
Exactly.
If my brother shoot me, I'm telling.
Exactly.
I don't care.
She said she didn't want to tell, but she got on live in front of. I don't want to do this, but let me log into my live and my Twitter.
The people coming for her. They was trying to play her, and she had to show the wounds because people was like, "Oh, you ain't really get shot." She had to show the war wounds, like I really got shot. Like if I say I got shot, why I gotta show you that I got shot? And it was video, like. Tory Lanez bogus.
Hold on. Nigga, I want to hear what you're talking about. What are you talking about? How you are you calling her a snitch?
I'm not really believing any of this. I'm appalled, to be honest with you. I mean, like I say, man, look, as Black people, it's crazy.
Turn your volume up, bro.
We sell trauma, okay? So
come a little closer to the phone.
Hello?
Come a little closer. We can hear you, just faint. We want to hear you loud and clear.
Is that better? Is that better?
That's right. My brother, come on.
Look, as Black people, we sell trauma, okay? That's how we get famous. We don't get famous by rapping about real estate, okay? We don't. So, with that being said, she got tracks for Young Nudie. If I don't know if you know who that is, but you got to check out her whole catalog. Feel me? What she preaching about, what everybody be preaching about, I don't. If that's what you preaching, I don't want to hear nothing else when real life happens. Like, you talk about how you want a hood nigga this, I'm from there, this and this and that. If it go down, you rich, G. Like, you rich too.
So you saying
I want a hood nigga don't mean I want him to shoot me. You supposed to shoot the ops. You don't shoot me.
Hey, look, I'm 5'5", okay? Megan Thee Stallion is 7'3". I'm
you know what, Ricky? I'm about to kick you off this.
Okay, I'm sure everybody was not sober that night. So, like I said again, hey, look.
But the issue I have, so here's the thing. I'm a firm believer. If I wasn't there to see it, I don't know what happened. But I had the issue I have, surrounds a lot of things. One, the culture of victim blaming. Like, regardless, like we don't have to keep speaking specifically about Megan and Tory to talk about the idea of victim blaming. You know how many women don't come forward from sexual assaults, from other assaults, because it's so quick to look at the victim like, you sure? Well, what did you do that made him do that? There's nothing I can do on this earth that makes it okay for a man to rape me. There's nothing I can do unless I'm trying to kill that man that makes it okay for him to shoot me. So
like if Megan Thee Stallion rapping about wet ass
let Shanika finish
and twerking and ass cheeks and taking niggas' money, then if she was rapping about some other type of music, I feel like people would have believed her a little quicker. Like, oh snap, like this not that type of girl. But at the same time, I feel which is trash. But I feel like people was looking at her like, you make this type of music, so now the shit you may say is questionable. Like it's questionable. Whereas like if she was singing gospel, you'll be like, they done shot the first lady. Like you
exactly. A little different. But that's the same thing society does to Black women. They see us as promiscuous and these sexual beings, and then when we come out with somebody sexually harassing us, they don't believe that because we're Black women. That's problematic as hell.
Well, we're gonna come back to Megan because we got 2 more things to get through, and I got a few minutes to do it. But I want to let Benda ask this question to help us wrap this out. I ain't scared, so what's up?
So this is my thing, right? It bothers me that a lot of times when like the conversation of Black women are unprotected comes up, or conversation surrounding that period, it's like Black women are the most unprotected. And I look at us as a people, right? I ran a poll on my Instagram one day, and that shit was like, who should we protect the most, Black women or Black people? And it was 50-50. But what I don't understand is why the fuck that people don't consider Black boys, Black girls, and Black men and Black women Black people. And I think we should all be protected. Like, people really I think the division really fucks shit up. You know what I'm saying? It's like they made Tory and the Megan thing like, oh, Black women are unprotected. And not to say, and I'm not even going to step on women that have real events that they're saying, hey, this happened. You can't give anybody their opinion. But I don't like how people divide us, because I never seen Martin Luther King then walking down the street like, yo, this for the bros. I didn't see Malcolm X say this for my niggas. Like, they walk down the street for both. So like, I wish there would be more inclusion of Black men and women when we talk about this shit.
But you are right. Hold on, Corley, let me respond, please. Thank you. You are correct. I agree that division does not help us. What I will say is that too often, as humans, I won't even just say Black people as humans, but I'll speak to my personal experience and say, as Black people, we get real one-track minded. Protect Black women can exist, and it can still exist that we also want to protect Black men and Black girls and Black boys. As you were speaking, it reminds me of you know, when we say Black Lives Matter, how white people respond with all lives matter. That's not the point right now. You're right. All lives do matter. I'm no racist. White, black, brown, all they matter very much. But you can't make me stand here and look you straight in the eye and tell you right now all lives matter when it's Black bodies dropping crazily. So you're not gonna tell me that right now is the time to talk about protect that Black man when a Black woman just got shot. You know, like there's a time and place for everything, but I want us to understand as a people that both ideals can exist at the same time in the same reality. Because you are right, as a people, Black, especially Black boys and girls.
Well, watch this. If we had a fight, right, and it was Blacks versus whoever right now, we're all Black. We're not gonna group into gender. We just gonna be like, yo,
no, it's one people. We're gonna kick their ass.
So it's like we should stop grouping into gender when we have issues. Like I feel like the Breonna situation was just as powerful as the George Floyd. I don't view them any differently. But if a person can get you to view that shit differently, then they can get us to be less powerful. You know what I'm saying?
That's
like,
what I'm saying. It's not about viewing it differently. We can view them as equally important and still focus on what just might be a little hotter at that moment. Like if this eye on the stove is boiling over, I need to turn that one down before I try to turn the other one up. You know, that's all it is. Like you're correct, but it's about how you view it. You know, like it's not fair to say that it tears us apart or it doesn't work, or we have to only just remember to say it as one unit. Like I can say protect Black women and it still exists that protect Black men is just as powerful. Right, it's not but right now, for these few seconds, we're just talking about Black women. Black men gonna get their turn because y'all are still relevant. Never were not relevant.
Period.
I'm gonna watch y'all. I'm gonna be looking at y'all social media.
Watch it. Personally, you won't see too much on mine. I'm trying to get better with that, but watch what you need to watch. The proof is in the pudding.
I'm always about to.
Come on, Ricky. Bring us home.
I just gotta ask the ladies one question. Now, y'all know when y'all get drunk, y'all get a little aggressive, right? I just got one question.
Choose your words carefully, brother.
I'm just saying, I ain't lying. But look, so
she just read them.
Right? Tory Lanez 4'3". Megan Thee Stallion is 7'3", right? Y'all don't think
no, he's not 7'3".
Like not at all. Like she drunk a little bit.
Then you know what I told him? He should have kicked her in the stomach. Then headbutt her stomach. You come to her stomach. That's all. You didn't have to shoot the lady. You could have did something. You could have jumped on her toe. Could have jumped on her foot. He heavy enough, I'm sure. So
in that situation, y'all don't think
you that scared? Don't hang with her.
It don't matter what she did. In the situation, it's not okay to put your hands nor shoot a woman. He could have walked away.
She was not trying to end his life. He has no valuable defense. I would tell my son, walk away. If she is trying to end your life, then you have all right to defend yourself in the means that you see fit. If no one is trying to harm your life, you have an opportunity to walk away. I suggest you take it, because as a Black man, they're gonna look at you crazy. So I'm gonna teach my son to protect himself, but also understand what situation he's in, even if he's innocent. Y'all got me heated. Okay, y'all taking up my time with these same questions. Listen, protect Black men, protect Black women, protect Black people. That is the moral of the story. All right. All right. Let me bring Bree back in to bring us home, because I know she like, girl, we got stuff to talk about, and y'all are tripping. All right. So Bree, don't shoot me if you're watching. Audience, thank y'all for hanging in there with me, with us. Y'all know how this goes. We always try to do it the right way, and yet and still somehow here we are. Hey Bree.
I told you to bring the right men into that last segment.
Woo! Listen, my edges started. They stressing me out. That's okay. I respect it. I like it.
Ricky and Benda are definitely something else, honey. Something else. Are we bringing it home?
I think we should. So there's a, I'm looking at it. I think we should. I know we got a few things like left. Like maybe we got to do a part 2 or something. Would y'all tune in on New Year's Eve? If you will watch on New Year's Eve, chime in the comments, because we have so much content to give y'all. But between 2020 and the snowstorm acting crazy today, and the timing of the night, like I would love to come back and chat with you all more. If you don't want me to come back, that's cool. I am not easily offended. Maybe I could record something for y'all. Me and Bree could work it out. Like, girl, we could do us a blog or something, a vlog. I need a YouTube video.
For sure. I was thinking that. I'm like, it'll be dope if, like, when things really happen that impact the culture, we kind of get like 6 or 7 influencers together and kind of talk about it in the midst. I think that would be dope.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
We create.
Well, I don't. What do you want to end with then? Let's pick one big one so we could bring everybody back in and we could chime on it and we could get everybody out of here for the night.
So we haven't talked about the election yet, but
which is a huge impact this year.
Yeah, I think we could go with that.
Want to go with the election? Okay, can we throw in? Can I throw in a couple funnies? Like, I think it was a few things that happened. Like, I learned a new word, entanglement.
Oh,
hint. I think social media versus music battles. Like, there's so many things we can talk about. TV took a huge, like, a big thing this year. Like, we talked about sports. I know Chris is in the background. You can hear me, like, the Last Dance documentary. I'm sure Chris could go on for days about that. You know, like, there's just so much P-Valley. Like, I don't know.
That was my #1 show this year for sure.
So I actually did not watch it until about 2 weeks ago. I binged it. I hate watching stuff when like it's popular because everybody always ruins it. Just
and you have to wait week by week when you could just watch the whole series into one.
And I did, which helped me like it. Which helped me like it. But I think there are so many undertones and so many messages in that show that, like, as a people, we need to have an open dialogue about. So what if we do this? What if we end with the election, like you said? And then we get together and we curate something else where even if it's after the new year, we can bring it back for everybody and talk about all this pop culture stuff. Because P-Valley and all these things will still be relevant next year.
Yeah, Clubhouse.
That work for you?
I love it.
Clubhouse. That's one. Like, I wanted to talk music. Like, I wanted to talk about what G Herbo's PTSD release did for the culture this year. Like, shout out to you, Herb, everybody on your team. Like, Black people deserve to be able to go to therapy. Like, we need it, you know. So to push that, Dirk's on a good run.
For that, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yes, ma'am. We're gonna talk about the election. I'm gonna bring everybody in. So if y'all in the background, get ready, cameras on. Chris.
Hey, y'all.
I got the brothers from All of Brother Knows, Larry, Shanika, Joycey, Corley. I never was really good at singing and stuff, y'all.
Cindy, you out here quarterbacking this thing like you Tom Brady out here.
Listen, my girl Bree threw the alley-oop. I'm about to do it.
You know I had to do it. I had to do.
Come on, girl. All right, y'all. So 2020 election. My favorite piece of it to kick us off, which, you know what? We're going to I believe in miracles. So I am going to try to show you all my favorite piece, and let's see if you can hear it. And if you can't hear it, I think you'll still know what it was. So let's see. You know where I'm going? Can y'all? Well, it's loading. But if you saw this video, we did it, Joe. We did it.
She was giving me real auntie vibes. I love
it. It was like real Black, real auntie, and I loved it.
I don't know about Black.
I second that.
I don't know about Black auntie vibes, but she was giving some kind of vibes.
Shout out to the AKAs.
She.
Well, thank you, fine sir. Shout out to us.
Kamala Harris,
United States.
The only one that benefits her. I don't think she's Black now that she's vice president of the United States. I think she's Indian again.
Ooh.
Okay. She was claiming a lot of different nationalities. It was like a whole video. She was claiming a lot of different nationalities, and then when she got on, I was like, "All right, my Black people."
So okay, so I think y'all opened a can of worms. So does the fact that she, I mean, I feel like as a people, we can't feel entitled to everywhere she goes. She has to say, "I am this Black woman." Now, I'm not saying that she should, you know, like, first of all, we talked about code switching earlier. So I think that's an important point to remember. Like, as a professional, especially as a vice president, you're going to code switch sometimes. Not saying sell out. I'm not saying that I expect her to whatever, but I also just don't think it's fair to expect somebody to go around and constantly, it's like you have to prove your Blackness by enacting Black stereotypes everywhere just to remind people you Black. Like, I'm very Black and I can speak proper English. You know, I can find a way to relate to people that are not Black as well. And does that make me less Black? Or am I looking at how y'all talk about Kamala wrong? Should I not be comparing myself? Help me understand.
I just think when you look at some of the interviews she's had, her answers show that she has a disconnect from our culture, a big disconnect. And that's in her everyday life because she couldn't even answer the questions regular. Like, they asked her favorite Bob Marley song because she said she listened to Bob Marley. She was just trying to sell us like her Blackness when it was time to sell us her Blackness. When she first I believe when she was trying to run for president, she was running as the first Indian woman to run for president. That's what she was like toting. And then when she became vice president, they wanted that black card. So, you know, I mean, it's the same with, I mean, you know, they had, I mean, Barack did it regular, but they had fried chicken.
I'm waiting right now.
They had Barack eating fried chicken. They had Hillary out here with rappers, and she done put half their ass in jail. So it's like, you know, it's always a game that they got to play to get our votes. And I just feel like even when Barack was playing the game, he played it like he actually do it. She don't play it like she do this for real. So that's what people kind of feel away about her. But I mean,
I feel like it was a strategy play. They brought her in for strategy, but at the end of the day,
it's politics.
Yeah, I'm not against a black woman doing anything. I feel like black women can, you know, they can do anything. It's just more so like, I mean, working in corporate America, like outside of music, when I had jobs, like I know what it's like to have a black woman boss. And it's like that motherfucker will come in and do any dirty work. Like it don't matter. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, just because we look alike don't mean, you know, all skin folk ain't kinfolk. So just because you black don't mean you fucking looking out for me. And it's like, that's one of the things that kind of like alarm me. Like I heard people like, I'd rather deal with Trump's bullshit than deal with that because at least I know what the fuck he is about. And all of y'all probably got more money this year from the Republicans. I'm just saying, like,
okay.
Y'all probably got more money this year.
But I would feel like such not a responsible moderator if I let us like that's the most important takeaway. Like that is probably true. However, like, do not let that little money that them Republicans gave you blind you from the fact that Trump is a racist. He is a white supremacist. Like he literally still has thousands of brown children in cages sitting in their own feces. Like watch my smile dissipate naturally because you can't ignore that stuff. Like I'm thankful for the roof over my head, the food in my fridge. I think, you know, I don't know anybody's story, and I know we all have one. I do know that for a fact. But I think we're blessed enough to be able to sit here on this screen. We have the technology to do that. We better off than those kids. And I don't think the little bit of money that we got should cause us to ignore to be able to say just because I can tell that that's massa, I'm going you know, respect him more. You know, when you start sounding like house Negroes, and I ain't every house Negro, some of them, not all of them, I'm sure, skin folk ain't kin folk. They rather get on master side than help free their people, and everybody looks at it differently. Like I am open to all of it, so I don't mean to be preachy at all. I just literally want us to understand, because there are some people who literally take that and run with it. Oh, they gave us money, so everything else, you know, nothing else matters. You know, so I don't know, but my thing is,
you don't want to be bought as a black person. You don't want to be bought.
Yeah, you don't. But that's what I was gonna ask y'all. So y'all think it was like even down to the T when she came out, when Kamala came out on election night on the stage to give her speech as, you know, vice president, her walking out to her. You think that was fake? Maybe she really listened to Mary.
Listen to one Mary song. That girl don't listen to no fucking Mary.
The fact that she an AKA black girls was gonna vote for her anyway. Period.
It's all symbolic.
People support their own.
I want to see the policies they're going to change for us. It's all talk, and until I see some policies that actually change things for black people, then I don't care. Anything is just else symbolic.
That's what I said. I feel like we could sit here and argue about like her percentage of black versus her ratio to being Indian or whatever. But at the end of the day, we got to keep an open mind. Like I feel like at the end of the day, we got to hope for the best. Like maybe her being forced, because I feel like it was probably her team, maybe her being forced to dig a little further into her African American heritage, kind of open her eyes to what's really going on in the world when it comes to black people, when it comes to African Americans. But we can only hope for the best and hope that the race to get into where she is pushed her to really want to help black people more since now she's in office.
We're gonna see.
And then it's like you gotta think about it like she's African American, she's Indian, and she's something else, some type of like Filipino or like Asian descent or something like that. So it's like how being all of that and having all of those heritage in one melting pot in one person, how do you pick and choose this is what I want to represent?
You don't have to though. That's the problem. You don't have to. You can say this every time you enter a room. The fact that you pick and choose when you want to be whatever is the problem.
But it's like, how do you pick?
So are you saying she's conveniently black? That's what you're saying?
Huh?
Are you saying that she's conveniently
black? Right. If you want to be Jamaican and African American, say that all the time. Don't just pick, oh, I'm black here because I'm speaking to a black audience, and then
You can't do that because she's not just black.
She can say all of it. I'm talking to a biracial person. They're not all the time. They're not white when they enter this room. They're not black. They're biracial all the time. That's my point. She pick and chooses.
Okay, so we got 2 minutes, and I see our brothers and all the brother podcasts. Like they've been trying to chime in. Let me let them chime in. I think their mic was muted and they didn't know. What's up, real quick? Sorry about that, y'all.
Y'all let us in, ladies.
It's like Clubhouse. You ain't get your invite, but you got it now. So what's up?
Damn, y'all, wow.
Hey, Corey, you did. Hey, yeah, for sure, definitely.
Bree, you voted for the Harris lady? You voted for that Jamaican Indian lady? You voted for that Jamaican Indian lady?
Hey, we can say this though.
Was she not better than the alternative?
Hold on. Historically, we can say this. The Democratic Party.
Jamaican Indian lady than that openly racist white man.
Oh, let's do this.
Joe Biden
historically, given both of their track records, and historically throughout like presidential campaigns since 45 like sessions.
Come on.
The only thing that the Democratic Party can offer America is like an increase in like prison industrial like sentences. That's it. All they do is pack prisons the whole time. That's the only way they help the market though. Also, although the Republican parties don't really have anything like no real plan, no real agenda for black people, but they don't lock us the fuck up in record numbers. When Democratic politicians get in office, everybody goes the fuck to jail. That's it though. That's it. When Republicans get in office, we don't get locked up. They just don't do shit for us. And that's okay because black people as a whole, we don't lobby for shit. You understand what I'm saying? But don't lock us up, though. Kamala Harris, that's her track record, locking niggas up. Joe Biden was a part of the Clinton administration with harsh minimum sentences. So we know niggas about to go to jail. So listen, we're not going to say who was better, who was like, this was better than this. No, it wasn't. How about you mind your business? This has nothing to do with you because you don't have a dog in this fight. Black people just don't want to just shut the fuck up and mind their business, though. Right. Sometimes it don't have nothing to do with you. Sometimes you are just a spectator because that's how they look. This has nothing to do with you. Stop trying to put you up.
That's why we ain't vote. We ain't vote up here.
And that's why they let black women. That's why they let black women start to lead us as a group because they're gonna always put their opinion when nobody asks for that motherfucker though. Black men gonna mind their business.
All right, Bree. Bree, bring us home. Bring us home. This Remember, we are a media platform with a responsibility. So we ain't knocking nobody's opinion. Hold on. Let's go along.
Y'all okay?
I'm just gonna say we need a part 2. We need to do this again. Because all the brother knows, y'all just pressed my buttons and y'all know it's time to go. So I'm gonna let y'all live today.
We don't want to leave them. Give them a little encore. These your people. We gotta go. Give them an encore. It got spicy. You can't leave when it got spicy. It got spicy.
Yeah, you can't leave when that tipsy spicy. You can't leave.
Okay, but in layman's terms, I will keep it short. I think that you saying that black women is gonna always give their opinions and not look at the facts. I think that was very much sexist of you. I don't think that should have been said, and I don't think that that's keeping an open mind of who we have in office. Because at the end of the day, we still gotta look at who we have in office, and I think that everybody should keep an open mind when it comes to Kamala. You can't just think, just because she Black, Asian, Jamaican, or whatever, and now she in office and she don't know when to embrace which side of her race.
You gotta look like this.
That's gonna lead to everybody being locked up. You can't say that.
Obama wasn't like, I just can't vote for nobody that's 100%. That's not 100% black. Don't put nobody in front of me and tell me they black and they ain't 100% black. She mixed with Indian and Jamaican. I mean, they can trace her roots. That's why she elected.
But let me tell you one thing though. Let me tell you one thing though.
So for example,
let's as we bring it home, from what I can remember from some things that I've learned, This that one little ounce of black blood in her body counts her as black. That's all it takes.
That's not black, baby. That's Jamaican. That's Jamaican. That's not black. That's Jamaican.
Do you think Nesta cares? Do you think Nesta cares?
I find it real funny that everybody loves that she's not black for real because she don't have a whole 50%.
That woman black, okay.
But girl, it don't matter what she is.
So here's okay, I'm about to mute everybody because while I do appreciate the enthusiasm.
Jamaicans are Jamaicans. Blacks are black.
Being the moderator is so great sometimes because you get to do things like this. And I don't mean any disrespect to y'all because I love you all. Bree, I gotta mute you too just so they don't think it's personal because it ain't. I appreciate all of you as contributors, and I agree we need part 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. What I want to say is I think one thing that we've touched on, even amongst our differences, even amongst the fact that we are not agreeing on everything about Kamala Harris, is that black or not, there's a little black girl somewhere that saw her on that TV screen and now believes that they too can be vice president. The same way Obama ain't 100% black, but black or not, whatever y'all want to call him, there's a little black boy somewhere that saw me over there gang banging on me. Please listen, we are all we all friends. But y'all, I'm about to get in so much trouble. But what I want to say tonight is thank you all so much for tuning in as a viewer, as a contributor. I love all of you. I want to show you, Joycey, thank you. I'm gonna unmute y'all for a few seconds so everybody can talk their stuff. When I unmute y'all, I just had to bring us back into order so that we could end on a positive, progressive note. As always, 2020 has been hectic enough. So I want to leave all of our viewers with a positive image of Black people coming together and respectfully arguing their points together, reflecting on times that we can relate to and times that maybe we can't. So to all of you watching, have a happy, safe, blessed new year. Remember, I said it, if your mama didn't say it, the Rona is real. So stay at home on New Year's Eve or only with a few people, please. Because these clubs, like, it's crazy, you know. God bless all of you. We got a promo, FC Network. Shout out to FC Network. Shout out to Specific Sense for sponsoring tonight's event. Shout out to Stay Cozy Friends. Go follow him at Slim Cozy Fits on Instagram for my hoodie. And all of that. You all, thank you all so much as contributors. So now I'm mute so y'all can say y'all goodbyes. I know you'll miss me. I'll miss you too. And I promise y'all, I practiced with everything. The videos worked when I tried it earlier, but we're gonna have to run Larry's SBA ad back next time. I have so much other footage for you all. And again, Happy New Year. Be blessed, everybody.
Happy New Year to everyone. Be safe.
And then we're gonna let
we need extra in the 21. Everybody get their hustle up. We need extra in the 21. Increase for everybody.
Extra.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, thank everybody for being here. Shout out to our moderator, my girl Cindy. Shout out to all of the panelists. Shout out to all of Brother Nose for ruffling my feathers right before it was time to go. We got to have an encore. We need to do a part 2. But shout out to What's the Word for having me for sure. It's 2020 Cultural Impact. See y'all next year, 2021.